Hello, I'm Matt. I love space and I love aliens, which is why I want to talk about what's going on with all these monoliths. So if you've lost count of all of the weird things that have happened in 2020, one of them happens to be that multiple metallic monoliths have shown up in places all over the globe. The first one appeared in Utah, the second one appeared in Romania, and now even more are appearing all over the world. Now, it's impossible to talk about the monoliths without discussing the greatest film ever made, 2001: A Space Odyssey. The monoliths we're seeing today bear a striking resemblance to those in the film, and just like in 2001, they appear quite suddenly. There is a novel of the same name penned by Arthur C. Clarke, who co-wrote the movie and wrote the short story the film is based on. In the book, which was lent to me by my friend Victor in 2009 with the only request that I eventually give it back, the monolith is implied as a mystical figurine responsible for advancing education and knowledge, first for the apes in Africa millions of years ago, seemingly rapidly excelling their understanding of tools. And much like how the apes went bananas when they saw the first monolith at the dawn of man, so too are humans encountering these today. But 2001 was a while ago, and 1968, when the film first came out, was an even longer while ago. So what's happening now? Well, that story starts a shorter while ago on November 18th, 2020, when a helicopter which had been dispatched to count bighorn sheep for Utah's Division of Wildlife Resources spotted something very not sheep-like. According to the pilot, a biologist on board was first to spot the strange object and asked him to turn around. They landed to get a closer look and found a three-sided silver structure, which people have since dubbed a monolith. The pilot guessed that it was some sort of art project, and while it was discovered on November 18th, the Department of Public Safety says it's impossible to know how long it's been there, and says that it could have been there for decades without discovering. On November 23rd, the Utah Department of Public Safety released a story about the monolith, which was on federally owned land, but kept the location undisclosed to prevent people from trying to find it. According to Lieutenant Nick Street, a spokesman for the department, the monolith appeared to be made of stainless steel and rivets, which are human-made, and then was embedded into the rock, noting, "Somebody took the time to use some type of concrete cutting tool or something to really dig down, almost in the exact shape of the object, and embed it really well." Those who believe it is in fact an art installation started to speculate as to whose art installation it could have been. Some point to John McCracken, a sculptor who is known for loving sci-fi and all things extraterrestrial, but sadly he passed away in 2011. McCracken's son isn't sure if his father is involved in the monolith, but noted that he had had conversations with his father some 18 years ago about wanting to leave his artwork in remote parts of the world. On November 28th, the monolith had disappeared, departing as mysteriously as it had arrived. A photographer who had traveled to the monolith to take some pictures of it claims he witnessed 4 men come in and take down the monument at night. Taking photos of the men dismantling it, the photographer stated that the men taking it said, quote, "This is why you don't leave trash in the desert." Some of the men have come forward, claiming that they removed the structure to preserve the area, not only from damage by the structure itself, but from people who had come to see the structure. Less than 2 weeks following the appearance of the monolith in Utah, and only days after it suddenly disappeared, a similar object was found in Piatra Neamț, a city in Romania. A local newspaper reported that this monolith was about 10 to 12 feet tall and made entirely of a dimly reflective material. The mayor of Piatra Neamț, a seemingly chill dude, made an official statement which was translated by The Independent. "There is no reason to panic for those who think there is still life in the universe. My guess is that some alien, cheeky, and terrible teenagers left home with their parents' UFO and started planting metal monoliths around the world. I am honored that they chose our city." According to a report by Reuters, this monolith only lasted 4 days before disappearing. Since then, many more have appeared and disappeared around the globe. But what would possess someone to make a 10-foot tall stainless steel object and shove it in the middle of nowhere? And is there a chance it wasn't someone at all? Well, I guess it could be aliens with advanced technology trying to make contact. To make that work, you'd have to have a real loose definition of alien, and advanced technology for that matter. And while there's no knowing for sure, all of the monoliths recovered were certainly made from the kind of advanced technology that you can find in any Home Depot. It's more than likely that whatever the reason for the first one in Utah, the remainder were shoddy copycats. It would certainly follow the pattern we saw with crop circles. Crop circles, which are generally described as large geometric patterns found in remote agricultural fields made from flattening crops, were seen and referenced by UFO enthusiasts as early as the 1960s. But with a growing interest in UFO culture, in 1976, Doug Bauer and his friend Dave Chorley of Southampton, England, decided to create the first physical manifestation of a flying saucer nest, which they made in a wheat field in Wiltshire, England, using ropes and planks under the cover of darkness. Reportedly, Bauer suggested it casually over drinks to Chorley, saying, quote, "Let's go over there and make it look like a flying saucer had landed." And following this, in fields surrounding towns like Wiltshire, Oxfordshire, Somerset, and Gloucestershire in southern England, from the late 1970s onward, simple crop circles began to be reported frequently. Ultimately, in 1991, Bauer and Chorley confessed that they were responsible for over 200 crop circles that had appeared since they had first begun making them in 1976. In the wake of the phenomenon created by Bauer and Chorley, there have been many reports of crop circles found around the world, found indiscriminately in various vegetation. At this point, unfortunately, if there were aliens trying to contact us via crop circle or monolith, we've been so inundated with fake outs that it'd be like getting a phone call from a man whose actual name is scam likely. But I often try to find the silver lining in whatever it is we're discussing. Whether it was little green men from space or just regular-sized dudes who like metalwork, it's a fun conversation to have. Anytime my regular life can get anything like a science fiction movie, I'm a happy camper. And maybe the news could use a lighter story every once in a while. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go mail a book.